information points about Karbala. One being, why do we mourn for Abu Abdullah Hussain in the first place? And second, which was extremely important, is why did Abu Abdullah Hussain do Qiyam in the first place? Now, of course, in the first lecture, as mentioned to the brothers and sisters, one of the very key points of Muharram, it's his connection with the concept of Mahdaviyyat. Its connection to Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. This connection, brothers and sisters, is so self-evident. It is so self-evident that we see in other philosophers or other thinkers in today's world, we see they even have made the connection. And who am I talking about? One, for example, thinker called Francis Fukuyama. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing the surname correctly or not. He's an American-Japanese writer, philosopher, thinker. He actually has a book about end times, and he speaks about, for example, that the last government that will be this democratic or this liberal democratic governments that we see today. And then he also speaks about another aspect of government, and he speaks about the Shia ideology, where an imam appointed by God will take governance, inshallah, over the whole world. And that will bring about peace and stability to the whole world. Now, another story about his is narrated. Some people say that this narration is not correct. He hasn't said this, but there's others that have narrated from a conference that he participated in, which all the other faiths were there apparently, apart from one faith, which is the 12 Shias, the Imami Shias, the Athna Ashari Shias, that weren't apparently in the Majlis. Now, whether he did say it or he didn't say it, the point that he made across the point is true. He spoke about the importance of Shiism and how the analogy used was like a bird that has two wings. And until this community, this ideology has these two wings, it's not easy to get rid of them. And he spoke about the resistance. Two wings, as in two ideologies that they have. The first ideology is the ideology of imamat, of mahdaviyyat, of vilayat. That of course this vilayat after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This concept was not taken away. This concept was, this vilayat of Allah was added to the imamat. So for these many years, this vilayat was given from the Prophet to the imams, the first being Amir al-Mu'mineen, and then on to the 11th imam, and now the imam that we have, and this imam is alive today. It's alive today. Some of us believe that, he's in qaybat, meaning he's not here. No, even his physical presence is here. Even his physical presence is here. It is, as so many of the ulama explain, that the presence of an imam is like the sun behind a cloud. You might not see the sun, but the light is still there. The effect is still there. And yes, for example, in Qaybat Suqra, at the beginning we had 4 na'ib that we knew. Directly we knew these individuals, one after the other, 4 of them. That yes, they had connection with Imam Zaman alayhi salam, and if you wanted to say something to Imam, you would say to them and they would convey your message. After that, 60 or so years, of course, then it was that no one had a connection. This no one had a connection does not mean that no one had a connection at all. We do not know exactly who that person is. Allah has hidden His awliya amongst the people. Just like Allah has hidden Laylatul Qadr within all the nights. There's a hikmat behind it. Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't many people that have a connection with Imam Zaman alayhi salam. Actually, we have narration that there is 30 or so people in the circle of Imam Zaman alayhi salam now in every single time. And these people will be replaced. These people will be replaced. When they die, another person will be taken in his place that Imam sees fit. There's actually a story, a true story. some years ago about a scholar, an alim in one of the houses in Tabriz, which is the west of Iran, in the Turkish side. And this alim, when he was at the beginning of his scholarly journey, it's been narrated that when he was going in the middle of the night, he wanted to go to the washroom and do wudu. He saw that from the khadim's room, from the person, the worker's room, that usually these schools, they have a khadim. They have a person that, for example, cleans there or helps with the food, does some of the chores that are needed in these universities or schools or houses. And he saw that there was a light coming from his room. A light that wasn't a normal light. And he saw that while this light was there, it was as if he's speaking to someone. Now he had a room to himself, there was no one in the room. But it was as if he was speaking to someone. Narration goes that he couldn't hear the other person what they were saying, but he could only hear the answer of this khadim saying, "Yes, my master. Bala aghajan, bala aghajan. Yes sir, yes sir." And so he went to the bathroom and came back and saw him the next day. He saw them the next day and asked this khadim, "Listen, I saw what you were doing last night. You were speaking to someone. Tell me what happened. What's this light that was coming? You were speaking to someone." And the khadim said, "No, it's nothing. Don't worry about it." And he kept on persisting and persisting. He said, "Listen, if you don't tell me, I will tell everyone. Tell me. You have to tell me." And he kept on persisting. He said, "Okay, I'll tell you, but you have to promise me one thing. Until the Zuhr of Jum'ah, don't say anything to anyone. You can't say anything to anyone." And he said, "Okay, I promise. I promise I won't tell anyone." And so he told him, he said, "Listen, that was Imam Zaman alayhi salam. He wants me to join because on the Zuhr of Jum'ah, one of the closest companions to him, that first circle, one of them will pass. And he chose me to take his place." And of course he's shocked. All these scholars, all these ulama, the khadim, what has he done? What is so specific about him? What was about his lifestyle? So until from that day to the Zuhr of Jummah, he kept an eye on this khadim. What was he doing? What was so important about him? He saw that he lived a life of Imam Zaman alayhi salam. Whatever he was doing, it was as if he was with the name of Imam Zaman alayhi salam. His prayers, when he spoke to someone, after he spoke, he said, "Inshallah, the Zuhr of Imam. Inshallah, we are the soldiers of the Imam." It's as if in every sentence, he had Imam Zaman in his lips. It would roll off his tongue all the time. Constant connection with the Imam. Not feeling that, okay, the Imam is something that later will come. No. Knows, understands the Imam is hayy, is alive right now. And second, the khidmat he did. The help he gave to everyone. A lot of his duties that weren't his duties, but he was still doing. He would come, for example, after sunset, he would come to the students in the houses saying, "Listen, if you guys have some clothes, I'm washing some, for example, carpets, I'll wash your clothes as well." He doesn't have to do that. But he said, "No, you guys study. I'll do these chores for you." If he's going out, he would say, "Do you guys need anything? I'll buy for you what you guys need. You guys need cheese, for example, butter." He was a true khadim of the Ahlul Bayt, not a khadim that, okay, this is my job and I have to do a job and so on and so forth. He saw that he was like khak, like sand. He truly didn't have a me about him. He didn't have this arrogance. He was truly a khadim, truly a khadim. And on the Zuhr of Jum'ah, when it got to Zuhr time, he just saw that he was in the courtyard sweeping. Suddenly, he saw he wasn't there anymore. And he looked around from here to there and he saw that he was gone. And then he told all the students, "What have we done? Look at us. We don't even have the capacity to even see the Imam, let alone be one of his closest companions. What has that man done?" The Imam is alive, brothers and sisters. He is here with us. It's not as if we have to wait to see him. Actually, there's a narration from Shaykh Sadud that says that the Imam is not in ghaybat, we are in ghaybat. It's not that Imam is somewhere that we cannot see him. No, we've put ourselves in a dark room and we've closed the doors and the lights, and the light of the Imam doesn't shine on us. No, but if we act upon what a true insan, a true human being is supposed to be, then of course we'll see the Imam, we'll have a connection with the Imam. We should speak to the Imam, speak as if he will hear. Of course he does hear. Of course he hears. Why is it that we go to so many of the ma'asumeen for ziyarat, and we should, and we speak to them and we want from them, even though our own Imam is alive right now? And even if you want something from the Imams, yes, they will give it to you, but the action will be through the Imam of our time, the Imam that is alive. They will tell the Imam of our time, because he's the Imam. Not a leaf falls from the tree without the izn, without the permission of the Imam, because he's Khalifatullah al-A'zam. He is the main Khalifa of Allah on earth. This is the Imam. We have to understand, brothers and sisters, this gift of Imam Zaman alayhi salam is not an ordinary gift. Yes, everyone on planet earth has this Imam, but at least we have some knowledge, some understanding about who the Imam is. We have to understand that whenever I call upon him, it's as if he's over my shoulder. If I live in a way where I understand, I have his protection. I have his protection, then of course the life we've lived so far will change completely, drastically. It won't be the same. But the attention of Imam Zaman alayhi salam, vilayat is very important. Vilayat is very important. Of course then, after the Imams, and in terms of the Qiybat, this vilayat of course is with the ulama, the Maraja for example. That they have a certain type of vilayat that we act upon for our Maraja tell us to do so and so, in terms of ahkam, in terms of jihad, in terms of so many different concepts that inshallah we'll get into. Another concept, and that was one part of the wing. The one of the wing was imamat, Imam Zaman alayhi salam, that we understand we have an Imam. We have one main source that we all go back to. This is the source of imamat, and he's the door between, or the bridge between us and Allah Azza wa Jal. And the second of this wing that balances it is the concept of shahadat. The concept of shahadat, the concept of, and we understand this concept of shahadat, what better story than the story of Karbala? Because when of course the end times come, we need to understand this concept of shahada. We need to live by this. Where are we going to learn from? From the story of Karbala, from the events of Karbala. If we want to learn how are we supposed to act, we learn from Habib ibn Mazahir. We learn from John. We learn from Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas. We learn from these stories. We learn from them, how am I supposed to act according to my Imam? How? Of course at its peak, Abul Fadl al-Abbas. At its peak of how we're supposed to be with our Imam. Inshallah on the night of Abul Fadl al-Abbas we'll mention it, but in that peak, in the highest of peaks, is Abul Fadl al-Abbas. We learn from him. We understand how am I supposed to be that close to my Imam. Now, the concept of shahadat is not a small thing, brothers and sisters. It's when we say you cannot get rid of a Shia that easily, this resistance that a Shia has, we learn it from Karbala. We learn it from Karbala. The concept of shahadat is that if you get rid of me, if you kill me, I will be successful, and if you're not able to kill me, I will still be successful. How are you supposed to get rid of such a person? A person that they are not scared of what happens to them. They have no fear. Full trust in Allah. Not only do they trust Allah, they want to become shaheed. They want to become shaheed. You know what the analogy is like? The story is like? It's like a person that goes and wants to fight with someone. The first thing they do is they hit the bottle on their own head. And everyone gets scared. They're like, if he did that to himself, then what is he going to do to me? The concept is that there is no fear in this person. There is no fear in this person. And in those times, brothers and sisters, that's when a person is born. That is a person, a shaheed. This concept of shahadat. Because you feel death. You feel death just over your shoulder at all times. Death, the concept of death, brothers and sisters, it builds character. Why? Because you feel, okay, tomorrow I might not be alive. Amir al-Mu'mineen has a hadith saying, forgetting death is like tar on the heart. Forgetting death is like the tar. It's like something that stops your heart from beating. Nisyan al-maut, sawda al-qulub. Forgetting death is like sawda on your heart, like black tar, something that has stopped your heart from beating. That means if you remember death, if you have this concept of death, yes, you understand, I'm limited time I'm on earth. As another narration from Imam in Nahj al-Balagha saying that yes, dream as if you will live forever, but live as if you will die tomorrow. We live in a way that I will die tomorrow. Look at the stories of these shuhada that have lived before. For example, in the war with Saddam, at the time, there's a story about Ayatollah Fadl Lankirani that passed away. Ayatollah Fadl, he was a big maraja. He was a big marja at the time. And it was apparently narrated that when he came to the front lines, he was going to be there for one day, give a lecture and go back to Qom. On the first time that he went there and he gave a lecture, he said, I'll stay the night, because of course it got to nighttime. He said, I'll sleep and I'll leave tomorrow. When it got to nighttime, and of course many of you have heard the stories of Shahada at the time with the war with Saddam, the Iran and Iraq war. When it got to nighttime, he said he went to take wudu in the middle of the night. When he was going to take wudu, he dropped into some type of a ditch. He thought it was a ditch. He fell into it. And he saw that there was a small little kid, 14 years old, in this ditch that he thought, but it was a grave. This 14-year-old had dug a grave for himself. He was in sajda, in salat al-layl, crying and asking for shahadat. Asking for shahadat. How are you meant to fight with this? Tell me. How are you meant to fight with such an ideology? This is why Shiism is strong. This is why you cannot get rid of Shiism so easily. Asking for that. It's narrated that not only did Ayatollah Fadl Lankirani stay that night, but he stayed for 40 nights. He was shocked. He was shocked. He said, such a person, I do not have the level of spirituality that this young man has. How did he have this spirituality? The concept of shahadat. The concept of shahadat is a concept that, brothers and sisters, but only a few days you can go the path that an arif takes 100 years to go. 100 years to go. Because death is tangible. It's non-materialistic. When you feel this death, you leave this materialistic realm. All these materialistic things that we care about, whether it even be maqam, whether it be status, and everyone saying, oh wow, what a so-and-so person you're, it all goes away. Because I know when I leave this earth, I'm gonna have nothing. I'm not gonna leave with this wealth. I'm not gonna leave even with the great titles and names that they've given me. I'm not gonna leave with anything. There's a story of a rich man when he was about to pass away in ihtizar. He did vasiyah that when you're taking me to my grave, take my hand out of my kafan and let everyone see that the wealth I have, but when I'm leaving, my hands and my palms are nothing. I'm leaving with nothing. I'm going to be in a grave just like everyone else. Now there's one thing understanding this, knowing this, but there's one thing understanding with our hearts, brothers and sisters. Yes, we understand, I'm saying this concept, even I understand, okay, yes, we need to do so and so, but understanding it with your heart is something else. Having ilm is something. Ilm is something that is connected to your heart. Yes, all of us see an airplane, and we see the airplane fly, and we understand, yes, an airplane flies because of so and so. But the ilm, the knowledge that an engineer, an aerospace engineer has about a plane, of how it flies, is completely different to me. He understands it and has put it into practice. There's a big difference between me and this engineer. There's two concepts, brothers and sisters, shahadat and mahdawiyat, or vilayat. These two concepts are two pillars in Shiism. Two pillars that even Western thinkers have understood it. How can we not? The connection between these two, the connection between the story of Karbala, the event of Karbala, and the event of Mahdawiyat is very close, very intertwined. It's one thing. It's ajeen. It's together. It's not separated. As I mentioned to the brothers and sisters on the first night, Imam Zaman alayhi salam comes, someone that everyone has been waiting for. Everyone. You speak to every single religion, they have one Messiah that will come. Whether you speak to in Judaism to a Jewish man, if you speak to a Christian, if you speak to all the different sects, major religions, even pagan religions, they all have a concept that at the end time one person will come and so will happen. Yes, maybe the of course details and stuff might be different, but the concept of a person, of an imam coming, is the same. We all have it. Such a person we've been waiting for all this time. He says 5 sentences, 3 are about Imam Hussain alayhi salam. This is a sign of connection. This is a sign of connection, brothers and sisters. This means the story of Karbala, the event of Karbala, the importance of it, and understanding this story. It's not one event that happened 1,000 or so years ago and now it's done and it's dusted. No, it's alive. It's pumping. It's echoing through time. It's happening every day, every year. It's renewing. Every year it's renewing. Many of you heard the story that for example, in the day of Ashura, there are some parts of for example, Karbala, their blood comes out of it. Many of you heard of it. I've seen it. There's pictures, you can go see it. It's not an event that happens once. It happened once many years ago and now it's done and dusted. No, it's an event that reoccurs. If someone has the sight to see it on the day of Ashura, if they go there, they won't even be able to withstand it. That's why so many people can't see it. If you can't withstand it, if you see the event, your heart will burst. The event of Karbala, brothers and sisters, is not an event that happened at one time and it was over. We should be proud of these two concepts, and we should give more food to these two concepts and bring it up. Thank you. Bring it up. Make my concept of Shahadat stronger. How? Remembrance of death. Remember, wanting Shahadat, asking for Shahadat, praying for Shahadat. Why would I want a death of illness in the worst ways? Why would I not want to give my life for Allah? The same life that Allah gave to me, but in the best way, to defend the innocent, to defend Islam, I give my life. What a better way to go. What a better way to go. And second, the concept of Mahdawiyah, the concept of Vilayat. Make my connection with Imam Zaman stronger. Understand this concept that yes, Imam Zaman is with me all the time. Write a letter to Imam Zaman alayhi salam. Speak to him. Ask from him. Read his ziyarat to him. You see ziyarat to Ali Yasin and other ziyarats that are about Imam Zaman alayhi salam. He is your Imam now. Whatever you say, he will hear. Speak to him. You have problems in your life? Tell him. See how the problems go away. Speak to him. Don't always go with problems. Show your love to your Imam. These all have spiritual effects, brothers and sisters. They all have spiritual effects. And this is the reason that so many in the world, brothers and sisters, they don't like us. They rise against us. Why? These two concepts. Because a Shia does not stand for tyranny. He doesn't stand for injustice. The concept of Shia is built is built on justice, whether it be from Amir al-Mu'mineen or Imam Hussain alayhi salam, or all the Imams. Injustice happened to every single Imam, and every single Imam was shaheed, one way or another, either by poison or by war or by sword or by... Look at our Imams. Each one of them were shaheed. Shahadat is a concept that's within our bloods. 11 of our Imams have been shaheed. Shahadat is not something we fear. This is not good for them. They don't like this. Other concepts, other people that have different concepts, yes, you can. It's easier to bribe them. It's easier to trick them. It's easier to scare them. But not a true Shia of Amir al-Mu'mineen. That's very difficult. And this is the same reason, and the question that I wanted to answer today to the brothers and sisters, is why they rose up against Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Because he stood up against justice. Yesterday we said, why did Imam Hussain alayhi salam rise up against Yazid? And now we say the reasons why did they try to martyr Abu Abdullah Hussain. Now, one of the reasons, according to hadith, is the fact that a lot of them, when they said, why did we want to martyr Abu Abdullah Hussain, was because of the war of Badr and Hunayn. This is a key point. This is a key point. A lot of the problems they have with us and the problems that they had with Abu Abdullah Hussain is because of our connection with Amir al-Mu'mineen. From then, the problem is there. What happened? It is so that so many of these people in these wars, who sent them to hell? Ali ibn Abi Talib. Who other than Ali ibn Abi Talib? When they asked, what is this? Why are you doing so? Of course, one of them said, all of you know the story about trying to behead Abu Abdullah Hussain. He said, this is the part where Rasulullah has kissed. It doesn't cut. And when he asked, why are you doing this? He says, Yawmun bi Yawmin Badr. This day for the day of Badr. Were they Muslim? Who did we fight in Badr? Was it any other than polytheists? See the face of Islam that they show? But it's not real Islam. Yawmun bi Yawmin Badr. This day is a response for the day of Badr. Direct response to that, or Hunayn. We all know what Amir al-Mu'mineen did in those wars. And we're proud of it. A lot of the problems they had with Imam Hussain alayhi salam was because of his father. They said, yes, he's not here, but because of the anger that we have within us, we're going to take our anger on the son of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Look at the chain of where Yazid and Muawiyah come from. Their forefathers. Their father, who killed their forefathers? Who sent them to hell? Amir al-Mu'mineen. So of course they have a problem. Of course that this is a faith. They had to accept. They had to accept Islam. Because Islam won. But do they truly believe in Islam? If you did, then why did you do? Why did you martyr Abu Abdullah Hussain? He said, Yawmun bi Yawmin Badr. A second reason, brothers and sisters, is the deep-rooted hatred for the Ahlul Bayt. They didn't like the Ahlul, and you see in some of the sects that the hatred they have for the Ahlul Bayt. Whether it be in, for example, around the shrine of Hazrat Zainab Salamullah alayhi, whether it be in the other shrines, the hatred they had for the Ahlul Bayt. Look at the Ahlul Bayt after Ashura. What happened to them? Was Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salam not imprisoned for 7 years? 14 years in total? Imam Hadi alayhi salam, if some of you go to Samira, away from the Haram, there's a cave where Imam Hadi alayhi salam was imprisoned. It was a cave that he couldn't stand up. it was a cave that he couldn't stand up. He had to do his normal prayers sitting down. It's such a small cave. It's a little bit away from the Haram of Salar. They imprisoned them so much that Imam Hussain al-Askari alayhi salam, by normal means at least, hasn't been to Hajj. Because they imprisoned, because they know the 12th Imam, the Imam of the last Imam of the time will come, so they put him in a prison of Askari. Askari meaning a military. That place was a military. So there is no connection to the outside world. So if a son is born, we will know about it. But by the will of Allah, they didn't. It was kept hidden. Kept hidden. Yes? Each one of the Imams, one way or another, they were in hardship. Why? All of them because of the hatred that they had with Ahlul Bayt. Now we look at the Quran, the same ayah I read to the brothers and sisters, was the duty of us towards Rasulullah, was it not to have mawadda, to have hub, to have love for the Ahlul Bayt? It was, right? Even if you take the meaning of min kuntu mawla as a hub, as whoever loves me loves Ali, where's your love? Even according to you, the love, where's your love? What happened in history? What happened to all the Imams? Was this the love? They know about the 12 Imams. Look at this concept of 12 Imams, not in our books, brothers and sisters. Look at in Ahl Sunnah books. Look at Sunan Abu Dawud. In Sunan Abu Dawud, it's interesting. This concept of 12 Imams after me is in a chapter, or they call Bab, a book, the book of Mahdi. It's in the chapter of Mahdi. It's the first hadith in the book of Mahdi. A bigger sign than this, we say that Imam Zaman alayhi salam or Mahdi alayhi salam is the 12th Imam. The first hadith in the book, not our books, their books, is about 12 Imams. And all of them will be from Quraysh. They said. Any other book? Yes. In other books has come as well. Not only Sunan Abu Dawud. In other books has come as well. In their most authentic books, this hadith is there. It's so much so that apparently, for many years, this hadith of 12 Imams was on above the grave of Rasulullah. That after me will be 12 Imams. Okay, Bismillah, name me 12 Imams. Name me after Rasulullah 12 Imams. If you want to count, for example, Bani Abbas, it will go more than 50 something. If you don't want to count them, you won't have 12. How are you going to count for 12? They understood the concept. The people that were supposed to understand this concept, they understood the concept of 12 Imams. But they didn't want to accept it. It's not that they didn't see it. They didn't want it because of the hatred of the Ahlul Bayt. And the third reason was claiming revenge for Uthman, for the third Khalifa. The same excuse that they used in the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the same excuse that Muawiyah used for the war of Siffin against Amir al-Mu'mineen, they used the same excuse. And of course, it was all a lie. It was just a reason. Otherwise, what has Imam Hussain alayhi salam to do with the killing of Uthman? What's the connection? What's the connection? Was he there? Was he supposed to do that? It's got no connection to him. But of course, it was a reason. And fourth, that we need to be careful about, brothers and sisters, is this worldly greed and power. Sometimes this worldly greed is not just money, but it's about power, status. Becoming the Amir of so and so place. So and so money. This is sometimes maybe not at that level of martyring an Imam, but in the lower levels we need to be careful. The money that we're getting, for what is it? Because if I let even a single ounce of haram into my stomach, this will grow. As we saw Abu Abdullah al-Hussein himself say the reason you guys are doing this is because you have haram in your stomachs. This is the effect of haram. Haram is not something I do a smaller haram, then okay, you know, I leave it be, I forget about it. No, this is why we have tawbah. This is why we have return to Allah. This is why we have to ask forgiveness, then act upon it so that we purify ourselves truly, because this sin will grow. We saw this sin in the story of the brothers of Hazrat Yusuf. They said, yes, we'll do tawbah later. Did they do tawbah? This sin grew. It grew in their hearts. They got worse and worse. It caused them to lie year after year, month after month. It didn't go away. Even towards the end, even though they said sorry, but because this nifaq had grown within their hearts, they still didn't like Hazrat Yusuf. They still had something against him. They still had this jealousy. Even more so, because of course he became in such a high status. Understanding the concepts why they rose up against Abu Abdullah Hussain, brothers and sisters, the importance is exactly this. For us to understand, why do they oppose us as Shi'as of Amir al-Mu'mineen, as followers of Abu Abdullah Hussain? This is not something that we can go, it will go away. We will have people, we will have groups that will oppose us. Why? Yes, because of justice. We are after justice. We don't stand for tyranny. We don't stand for injustice. Why? Because they know the story of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Whoever is with Amir al-Mu'mineen, they won't like them. Whoever loves the Ahlul Bayt, they will call them Rafizi. They won't like them. Why? Because of worldly things. Others will come give them worldly things, what? To oppose us. Whether it be with trade, whether it be with oil, whether it be with whatever, they will oppose us. So we have to always understand, brothers and sisters, that the only thing that we have to lean on is Allah. We are in the path of the Ahlul Bayt. Why? Because they're in the path of Allah. And being in the path of Allah, they will always have His trials and tribulations. It will always have problems. There will always be stones on the way. But the importance is going on this path. As I mentioned on the previous lecture, what will happen at the end, that's in the hands of Allah. For me, the duty. I have a duty. Whether it to be go on this path and die on this path, become a shaheed, or yes, reach the end and reach the goal that Allah has set me out for. In either way, I'm a winner. For me, my wazifa, my duty is to be on this path. Whether I succeed, as in this world we succeed and I get it, or if I don't and I fail, I'm still successful. This is a dangerous concept. This is a concept why Imam Hussein's followers were very hard to fight. 72! Look at what they did. Look at how many people they destroyed. This concept. Each one of them were like 10,000 soldiers. Because Imam Hussain told them, they could see that yes, this is not defeat for me. I know I will be martyred, I know I will be killed, but this is success. This is success. When I meet Allah in the next life, it will be success. I will say that I put my life for Abu Abdullah Hussain. I did it in the path of Allah. One of those beautiful souls that gave their life for Abu Abdullah Hussain was Hazrat John, this shaheed of Karbala. This shaheed of Karbala. John's story, brothers and sisters, it's a story that many can relate to. As-salamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. As-salamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. All together, brothers and sisters.
السلام عليك السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. The companions of Imam Hussain, when they rode into the battlefield, they didn't just go in silence. Each one of them said a motto, cried out, showed their love for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Each one of them, they told all the people their lineage, my father, my mother, so and so. They all called out on the lineage that they had, but not John. John said, I am the son. Everyone said, I am the son of so and so. My tribe is known for bravery. I am fierce, I am strong, but not John. John instead cried out and said the name of Abu Abdullah. John said, Amiri Hussain wa ni'mal amir, سرور الفواد البصير النظير. My master is Hussain. What a noble answer. May inshallah all of us on the day that we have to give our lives for our Imam, to have the ma'rifah to say these words, oh brothers and sisters. Amir Hussain wa ni'mal amir. Oh people, if you want to know who I am, my master is Hussain. I am but a servant of Hussain. That is my pride, that is my name. If you want to know me, oh soldiers that are against us, know that my Amir is Hussain. Amongst the servants of Abu Abdullah, there was one odd one, and that name was John. He had feared that Abu Abdullah would not allow him to go to the battlefield, as if because he was a servant. But Abu Abdullah al-Hussein gave him permission to go to the battlefield. When he went to the battlefield, but a simple servant, but what a brave warrior he turned to. The afternoon of Ashura came. The young man had been martyred. The companions had all fallen one by one, and this old, tired, weak servant for his master stood before Abu Abdullah and softly asked, Ya Hussain, will you allow me to go to the battlefield? And Imam Hussain alayhi salam answered, John, I do not give permission. John didn't argue with Abu Abdullah. He didn't raise his voice. He said, with humility, with full awareness, Ya Hussain, I know I'm not worthy. Brothers and sisters, none of us are worthy to die for our Imam. I know I'm not worthy. I know I have no importance. Please, Ya Aba Abdullah, let me be honored through you. Let me mix this impure blood on the sands of Karbala, in the same plains of Karbala, that all of these pure bloods will be mixed. Abu Abdullah al-Hussain said, John, you've grown old in our house. You've served us for many years. I want you to live more days in peace. You don't have to give your life, Ya John. But John looked up to Abu Abdullah. Then he looked up at the skies and wept, Ya Abu Abdullah. When food was sweet and warm, I was your servant. And now when swords are drawn on, should I leave your side? I am not a servant that abandons his master, Ya Abu Abdullah. Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, give me permission to enter the battlefield. Abu Abdullah al-Hussain reluctantly gave permission. John fought, his old bones weak, his body so weak, but a heart of strength. As he fell on the battlefield, the swords had struck him on his knees, looking that will Abu Abdullah come to him. He thought to himself, no, Abu Abdullah doesn't come to a servant like me, he goes to his true companions. But Abu Abdullah came towards John and cradled his head onto his lap, praying for him and saying, O Allah, grant him sweet fragrance and raise him amongst the righteous. But ya la yawmukum ka yawm al-ashura. Oh brothers and sisters, who cradled the head of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain? There was nobody left. When Hazrat Zainab came, she saw that there was not a head left. They had taken the head of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain away. Ya Abu Abdullah, in those last moments, as your cheeks were on the plains of Karbala, there was but a whisper saying, Al-Atash, 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 Al-Atash. Sallallahu alaykum ya ahla bayt al-nubuwwah بحق الحسين سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون باسمك العظيم الأعظم جل الأكبر كي يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله. By the rahmat of Allah, inshallah, all of us will be the closest companions of Imam Zaman alayhi salam, and may Allah inshallah hasten his appearance. May inshallah all of us be on the righteous path and live a life like the shuhada of Karbala and be a true shaheed for our Imam. Salawat Muhammad wa